Hello, my fellow concerned friends, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching and showing up and supporting me every single time I post. It genuinely means the world to me, especially because YouTube just can't stand me. They cannot stand me. They can't stand my content. So I really appreciate those of you who continuously show up and continuously support. It really means the world to me. And if you're new here, hello, welcome. I hope that you stick around and that you get something beneficial from my content. And if you enjoy my content, maybe consider liking the video and subscribing. As a parent, nothing enrages me more than witnessing other parents blame their own child for their own terrible parenting because they are not emotionally mature enough to self-reflect and learn how to meet their child's individual needs. If a child is not immediately obedient, they take that as a personal attack. You're just trying to be mean to me. You're trying to give me a hard time. So you deserve to be yelled at. You deserve to be isolated, or you deserve to be hit. And most parents, including the mother we are going to look at today, are extremely proud of it. They're very boastful about it and even excited to share stories where they have hurt their child, hit their child, and they think those of us who do not believe in fear-based parenting or physical discipline are going to raise children who just grow up into just a lump of clay, while they think their parenting style is going to turn out A+ members of society with no mental issues at all. This is Autumn, a single mom to one child, a little girl, and she decided to come online and make this video, very eager and excited to tell the whole world about how she got to discipline her child in public by hitting her child in public, and even the school thought it was hilarious. Also, sorry if it seems like I'm like looking down a lot. I am, because I don't want to glare you with the green.
I don't know about you all, but I spanked my kid and I don't give a damn. Let me tell y'all what happened this morning. This morning, she said, I want to wear my black New Balances. They happen to be in the car. I said, put your Crocs on, girl, get in the car, and I'll put the tennis shoes on you when we get to school. Mind you, I got a ankle and I gotta wear a boot, but I didn't put my boot on to take her to school because I wasn't planning on getting out of the car, doing anything physically except driving her to school and coming back home. I'm wearing gray sweatpants with a coffee stain on it, large t-shirt that with no bra on. Thank God I decided to put on a jacket because Lord knows I needed it. And I had on some ugly dirty slippers because that's what I'm basically living in, besides wearing my boot. We get to school, I get out of the driver's side, I go over there to the passenger side, I get her black New Balances, I put them on her. As soon as I put them on her, she's screaming, they're not comfortable, I don't like them, I don't want to wear them. She goes to a private Catholic school. She can't wear Crocs to school, honey. She's got to wear that skirt, polo, white socks showing, and tennis shoes.
This is a very common parenting dilemma. I myself have a child this age as well as other children, and I go through these dilemmas multiple times a week. Because children have opinions and they have preferences. And guess what? Maybe the shoes really are uncomfortable. And on top of that, you cannot expect a 6-year-old to be able to fully comprehend why she cannot wear shoes to school that are more comfortable just because of the way they look. Yes, 6-year-olds are able to comprehend rules and they absolutely are able to follow rules, but you can't really expect a 6-year-old to fully comprehend that. So this entire situation started simply because the 6-year-old did not want to put on the New Balance shoes because they were uncomfortable or whatever her reason is, and did what 6-year-olds sometimes do. They throw a tantrum. That's something kids do. And it is our job as parents in the early years to help them learn how to regulate their emotions. And this next one is another huge one that I don't really see people talk about a lot, but not only regulate them, before you can regulate them, you need to be able to name your emotion. Beyond just sad, angry, and happy, I am frustrated. You are annoying me. These are things that I've taught my kids since they were teeny tiny, able to understand anything. And my child, who is the same age, is able to make compromises with me, able to hold actual discussions with me about wants and needs or ways that maybe they think I am being unfair. And guess what? Tantrums still happen. But it's about how we respond to them that really teaches the child how to handle those big emotions long term. So let's take a look at how she decided to handle this.
I said, put the damn shoes on. I'll go to Walmart and buy you a pair, and I'll bring them back to school. All you gotta do is deal with them for like 30 minutes, honey. Deal with them for 30 minutes, baby. Because I do know what it feels like to be uncomfortable, and I don't want her to be uncomfortable. No, that wasn't good enough. She stood up out of this car, and she starts jumping around like she's having a seizure. She starts screaming at me.
As parents, it is our job to educate ourselves on child development and realize that a 6-year-old really does not have a concept of time for 30 minutes, an hour, half an hour. Like, in their mind, 30 minutes is forever. In their mind, 30 minutes is like the entire day. So yeah, I mean, like, if I also had no construct of time and did not understand what 30 minutes was, and I'm already not wanting to wear these uncomfortable shoes, yeah, in a 6-year-old brain, I also would be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this any longer. And I too would probably melt down. That's what we should expect 6-year-olds and children in general to do. And it is our job to help bring them back to reality and help them understand, in this case, the concept of time and help reassure them that this is not going to be a long time at all. I will be right back.
And then my 6-year-old little girl swings on me. She swings on me. Handicapped or not, I'm coming after you and I'm whooping that tail. I don't care if we're in a parking lot and the drop-off pickup line is right next to us. I don't give a damn. I don't care what I look like. I'm whooping that tail. And had I had my boot on, I would have took it off and threw it at her so I could get to her faster.
I wonder why your 6-year-old is swinging on you. I wonder why your 6-year-old has tendencies to overreact, melt down, and resort to physical violence when she doesn't feel like she's getting her way. Maybe it's because that's what she sees her mom doing. Her mom isn't getting her way, i.e., I'm not listening. Mom's not getting her way, right? With the behavior or whatever she's expecting of the child. So what does she do? She hits the child. No wonder your child is hitting you.
Anyways, I catch up to her. Miss Handicap catches up to her, and I snatch her up and I whoop that tail in the parking lot. I did. And then I said, get in that damn school, stop acting like a damn fool, and have a good day. I love you. And then she shoves me.
I mean,
I go back to my car, and I was half tempted not to go get her new tennis shoes. I was thinking, nope, you can go to school and sit there in misery. But I didn't. I go and I get her tennis shoes, and I bring them back up there to that office. As soon as I walk in, the front desk girl and the principal was like, what happened this morning? And I said, honey, she swung on me and she thought I wasn't gonna whoop her. She's crazy. She should know her mama. They said, we seen you out there trying to cover up. I said, I ain't got no damn bra on. I stood up and they said, oh my Lord. I said, I got a handicapped foot. I limped all through Walmart getting these shoes to bring them back here. And she tried to swing on me in the parking lot thinking I wasn't gonna do nothing to her. She's crazy. Yes, I whoop my kid. I believe in spankings. I believe in discipline. And this weekend, she's going to be my caretaker. She's going to fold that laundry. She's going to vacuum. I bought frozen microwave dinners. She's not appreciative when I cook for her. She's not. And it gets on my damn nerves. And I'm handicapped and I stand up and I cook for that baby. And she's not appreciative of it. So you know what? You're going to get microwave dinners. She's going to see. She called me mean. I'm far from mean, y'all. I spoil that baby rotten. Everybody at the school's like, she's spoiled rotten. She is. She's my only kid. I can do that. But she's going to eat microwave dinners. She's going to do chores. She's going to be my caretaker. She's going to see how mean I can be. I'm taking away her makeup, her little skincare, her vanity. I'm taking it all away. I'm done.
Notice how the people at the school thought it was funny. They didn't say, hey, we saw what happened. Can you tell us more about what happened? And then she's able to say, yeah, this is what happened. I'm not putting up with that behavior. Why couldn't the school say, oh, fully agree. Like, children should not be acting that way in general, period, to anybody, let alone their parents, of course. But can we offer some advice on maybe how to be able to connect with her and not take it to such an extreme level where she's not even going to understand the point of the problem, the root of how you even got in that situation in the first place? No, of course not. Let's just laugh, because nobody thinks that physical discipline harms children, even though we have study after study after study study that proves that it does, and even studies that say that spanking affects the brain in the same way as child SA. But no, it is so hilarious to the majority of society to take out our personal anger, frustration, and disappointment in our child on our child physically in hopes that they'll learn some sort of lesson. And by the way, they never do. Spanking has never actually taught anybody anything. And the weekend of disciplines and punishments, you don't get home cooked meals, you get microwaved meals. You're gonna wait on me hand and foot. You're gonna do all of these chores. And by the way, we see in other videos, she actually does go through with this. Now listen, I am not saying that there is anything wrong with microwave dinners, especially in her position because her ankle is hurt, duh. But to use food as a punishment is harmful. What you are teaching her is when I mess up, I don't deserve good food. And now I know she says she doesn't appreciate what I cook anyway. Most kids don't. Most kids will sit there and whine and complain even if you put their most favorite food right in front of them. Again, they're kids. They're trying to figure out their emotions and what is going on in their head. And it is our job as parents to calmly demonstrate to them what is acceptable and what is not. Dude, this is what we're eating for dinner. You don't have to like it, but this is what we're having for dinner. I did not make anything that you don't like, so I know you'll eat it. This is what we're having for dinner. You do not have to like it. But no, again, we have to force kids to be thankful because they owe us, right? So yes, you don't deserve this, what you're teaching your daughter. You don't deserve home cooked meals, nutritional, made with love meals when you mess up. How is that going to translate into the adulthood? Same thing with the chores. These are things 6-year-olds should already be doing. Your 6-year-old can absolutely already be helping with the laundry, probably in very big ways. I know mine does. They are able to put their own clothes away and fold them in a sense, although it won't be perfect. Why are we using these things as punishments when these are just things as parents we should just be teaching our kids in general? But no, let's use these things that we should be learning in our childhood to help us succeed in adulthood as punishments, and then still expect our children to turn out to be completely well put together adults in their adult. In her next video, she doubles down on how much she enjoys spanking kids by talking about how she lets other people discipline her child and she thinks that that's totally fine. Friends, family members, no one's had to spank her child yet, but she's all for it if it's necessary.
Hot take, I think you should let other people discipline your kid. I said it. I let my friends discipline my daughter.
She also describes a time where she spanked her friend's child because her friend's child was being extremely disrespectful to his mom, calling her fat and stuff like that. So the mom, they're driving by the way, the mom gets tired of it and says, Autumn, get him. So she turns around and smacks this boy's leg multiple times while they are driving and laughs while she describes how he had to cover up his head in embarrassment, shame, whatever.
I discipline my friends' kids. And I've had to spank one of them. Honestly, it was just a distinct reaction where we were on a little trip and my daughter was sitting behind me. I was in the passenger seat and my friend was up there driving and her son was behind her, and he's a little hellion and he's a hoodlum and she doesn't discipline very well. If anything, she argues with him, and she may see this and that's okay. And he called her a fat ass and told her, I hate you. And she said, Autumn, get him. Now, I don't know in that moment if she meant, tell him not to talk to me like that. But in that moment, I thought it called for an ass whooping. So that's what I did. I spanked him on his legs because that's as far as I could reach. I unbuckled and I went back there. Honey, I spanked him. And he got upset. He covered his head with his blanket or whatever. He's 8. And it didn't work.
That is child. You smacked him multiple times in the leg for being disrespectful and calling his mother a very mean, derogatory name. What are you teaching? And I wonder why he's speaking to his mom like that. How are people talking to him at home? What is being said at home? See, once again, this is just over and over again. We see this. We see parents being horrible parents and their children copying what they are seeing, and the parents getting mad and taking it out on the children because children are a direct reflection of you most of the time. Again, I always say this, there are exceptions for nuance here and there, but we're talking majority of the time, your child's behavior is a direct reflection of what they are seeing in you. They're in denial and they lack self-awareness because they do not want to admit that they are wrong. They really want to believe that their actions, the way they treat other people and the way they treat their children are justified and completely okay, but then get mad when their children act the same way towards them. She then goes on to make this video where she refers to children as the terror word, which is a wild thing to say, as well as hellions, and opens it up by talking about how gentle parents negotiate with terror words, which is, again, wild because a huge part of parenting is, get this, compromising and negotiating, whether that be on wants or whether that be on, get this, yes, even punishments. Because when you allow a child the room to say, hey, you know, I know that you said for lunch it's peanut butter and jelly, but I would really prefer a peanut butter and banana sandwich. It's really important for you as a parent to be able to weigh, is this really a big deal? Or am I just being like, oh, no, I want it my way and no other way? It's really important to be able to gauge that, right? And be able to come to your child and say, okay, well, I was planning on making peanut butter and jelly, but you know, if you want peanut butter and banana, that's fine. How about you cut up the banana while I spread the peanut butter, or vice versa? You come up with compromise and you also include them in their own decision making. And that, yes, also goes for punishments as well. If you are punishing your child or giving your child a consequence, you as a parent should hold enough space to be able to have those conversations with your child, especially if the behavior is not changing, to say, is this working? Is this not working? And be able to hear your child, be able to communicate with you, maybe this would help me understand or learn better versus what you're doing. It is so important to have those conversations and be able to negotiate, compromise with your child, because what that is teaching them as they grow up and get older is that their voice matters. They are allowed to tell somebody, hey, this isn't really working for me. Can we change this up? That is, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I fail to see how that is a problem in parenting. But I digress. The entire point of her video is to be able to come on here and eagerly and excitedly tell the world about a time that she got to spank her 3-year-old child. This is when her child was 3 in public because she was embarrassed by a 3-year-old's behavior.
We was in Walmart in the self-checkout. She wanted a piece of candy. And I said, no, because she already got something at TJ Maxx right before then. No, you're not getting a piece of candy. And she threw herself on the floor and she started kicking and screaming and crying and was embarrassing me as a parent, you know, because people are thinking, you let your kid act that way. I know I look at parents like that too. Like, you're going to let your kid act that way? You better jerk them up. Okay, so that's what I'm sitting here thinking. Like, people are thinking I let my kid act like that. Honey, I get her up. I spank her bottom, pop, pop. And I pick her up and I put her in the car and she looks at me and she says, you embarrass me. And I said, yeah, you embarrassed me too, Ella. Now look, we're both embarrassed, aren't we? And I went on about my business.
The absolute horror. You mean to tell me your 3-year-old had the audacity to throw itself on the floor and throw a fit because it didn't get a piece of candy? I've never heard of that in my whole life. You must be the only and first parent this has ever happened to. You have every right to be so embarrassed because this is not something that ever happens. Give me a break. That is no reason or justification to hit your child, especially in public and in front of people. That is wild. This happens to all parents. Guess what? We all go through this at some point or multiple times. And if you say that this has never happened to you, respectfully, I think that either 1, you're lying, or 2, maybe you just like don't go to the store with your kids. And you know, whatever, that's fine. A lot of people don't. I'm not judging you, but I genuinely have never in my life met a fellow parent who has not been there. And yes, it is very embarrassing because just like she says, to be honest, I look at people like that too. People like that make it hard to be a calm, present, and guiding parent, because it is a lot of pressure. But the reality is, most people are not looking at you like that. Most people are not judging you and automatically assuming that you are the worst parent in the world. Most people, if they're looking at you, are probably looking at you with like a, oh, been there, done that, I remember that. Or maybe even I've seen some people like low-key kind of smile, like, because again, been there, done that. That's what most people are thinking. Yeah, they may not look happy, but they're not necessarily like mad or judging you. They're more likely than not remembering their days of dealing with that, because again, we have all been there. That is no excuse to hit your child because you're embarrassed. As a parent, why are you letting your assumptions of outside perception dictate how you treat your child? That there is no excuse for that. I was embarrassed. My kid was embarrassing me. You're not a good parent. Why do you care so much about being embarrassed? Like, you're going to go home and everybody, none of these people are going to remember you. Nobody's going to remember this interaction. It is a blip in their whole day, but you hit your child. In this next video, she is giving an update on how the weekend of consequences and discipline worked, as if the world needs an update on how much you despise your daughter and get joy out of punishing her.
The long-awaited update on how disciplining my daughter over the weekend went. He started off strong with writing lines. I will not be mean to my mommy. I will not hit my mommy. And I will be respectful to adults. She had to write that.
I also grew up writing sentences as punishment. And guess what? It never taught me anything. If anything, it made me very resentful to my parents. But like, if I had to write 100 lines of, I will not disrespect my mom and dad, I will not disrespect my mom and dad over and over and over again, I'm frustrated. So I'm already not even like caring about what I'm writing. My hand hurts. I'm just resentful and angry now. Not to mention, what is disrespect? Because it seems to me with parents like who my mom was and parents like this from the videos that I've watched on her account, disrespect could be anything. If you offended me or just didn't listen to me when I expected you to, you've disrespected me and now you're in trouble. Like, what is disrespect? There is no clear line. It's just, I'm offended, you disrespected me. Well, that's not what disrespect is. So again, this child's not going to learn from this until you actually sit down with them and get to the root issue. And I know, parents, that requires spending time with your child and actually having in-depth conversation with them and also being open to hear their opinions and feelings without being defensive. I know that's really, really hard for a lot of you.
She had to eat banquet meals for dinner. You don't like my vegetable soup? You don't like my New York strips? You don't like my homemade mashed potatoes? Well, deal with Salisbury steak and chicken fried chicken and that fake mashed potatoes over there. She hated it, y'all. Now for breakfast, I did cook. I cooked eggs and bacon like I normally do and some kind of fruit. I went and got coffee. She loves to go get coffee with me. She wasn't allowed to get any coffee. I went to Mexican over the weekend. She went to Mexican with me, but she had to order off the kids menu. She's not used to that. I usually let her order off of the adult menu. I usually let her get the little girl wine, which is the Horritos soda. No, she had to drink water. I had a lot of clothes that needed folded. She sat in this living room floor and she folded them all. I said, I don't care how long it takes you, you're gonna get it done. She had to scrub the toilet.
Like, okay, I'm just failing to see how any of these consequences are related to the original crime itself. And I'm curious to know if your 6-year-old at the end of this weekend is able to, on her own, without you coaching her, on her own, be able to tell you, this is why you disciplined me. Would she be, after this weekend, is she able to say why she earned all of those disciplines? I really doubt it, because all of this is very unrelated. I mean, is it the end of the world? Is this the worst thing parents have ever done to discipline their kids? No, but it's extremely lazy, and also it doesn't make sense. We're gonna go out to eat at a restaurant, but instead of ordering off the adult menu, you're gonna order off the kids menu. Like, what even is going, like, what are you teaching your kid at this point, dude? Like, you're just coming up with all of these weird, creative punishments just to, like, try to make your child, perpetually uncomfortable and feel shameful all weekend. And with the toilet and the folding laundry, again, these are things that your child should already be learning how to do. not things that are used as punishments. Like you're giving a negative association with things that are just everyday things that all people have to do. And you're already implanting or implementing or whatever negative associations with those acts, because when I get in trouble, I have to do this instead of, oh, my space needs cleaned, or I deserve clothes that are put away and I can find them easy. Let me do that. You are setting up these things as a punishment, and that is going to negatively affect her into her adulthood, versus already teaching her to be doing these things and be doing them because she herself deserves nice things and a clean space. She then goes on to say another part of the punishment was that her daughter was going to be her caretaker all weekend because of her ankle. Again, like, I mean, I don't know, like, I would kind of hope that you're already teaching your child to have empathy and compassion, to see that you're hurt and actually maybe want to, on her own, help a little bit. Like, again, like, why are you using assisting somebody who needs assisted as punishment? What are you teaching your child? I bet your child is definitely going to grow up and see somebody hurt and be very eager to help them and make their life easy, instead of associate that with being a negative punishment. To have to help someone who needs help. Yes, Autumn, you are really on your way of turning out a very good, empathetic member of society. She also goes on to talk about how after the weekend was over and she took her daughter back to school on the next school day, the front office was just so excited to hear all of the juicy details, and she said everything and they laughed, right? Because it's so funny to take out our own anger and frustration and lack of being a good parent on our child. Like, instead of educating myself on child development, I don't know, maybe going to therapy and asking my therapist, hey, why is the way I'm disciplining my child not working? What am I doing wrong? And what are the next steps I should take? No, let's just keep coming up with really creative ideas that don't even make sense to punish our child. And at the end of the punishment, the child won't even remember why they got punished. Yeah. Really teaching them well. This is a comment that was left on a previous video, which I'll put in the clip, where she was explaining how the reason that she's so big on discipline, you know, for her own child as well as other people's children, is because at the end of the day, we are all accountable to somebody. We all have to answer to somebody, whether it be your teacher, your boss, your husband.
Because her whole life, she's going to have somebody telling her what to do. She's going to have to answer to somebody her whole life, whether that be her husband, the mortgage company, the bank, the car note, her car note, insurance, electric, water, phone, her boss at her job. She's going to have to answer to somebody her whole life. So I think it's very healthy for other people to discipline her.
I know, absolutely wild. And obviously somebody else agreed because they commented husband ? LOL, and this is her response.
Yes, answering to her husband, because if she ever gets married, that's what it's gonna be. She's gonna have to answer to her husband just like her husband is gonna have to answer to her. When you get married, you become one. You consult the other about decisions. You don't just go off and make them.
To answer the question I know you all have, yes, she is very much single. She has not been picked yet, and she is talking about marriage as if she has walked that path before. As somebody who has been married for 7 years, I don't answer to my husband. No, absolutely not. And he doesn't answer to me. You know what a healthy marriage is? It's compromise and communication. It's me saying, hey, these are my plans, and maybe this is what I want to buy or what I want to do. What do you think about that? And being able to give him the space to do the same. And it's not about control. It's not about letting him say, no, you can or can't do that, vice versa. It's more so just about being aware. Everybody being aware of where the other person is, or possibly where that money in the account went, so nobody's like, what's going on here? It's just conversating, communicating with your partner, not to mention you are, by your own admission, teaching your daughter that she has to be accountable to people or answer to people, and if she doesn't, including her husband, she will get what? Hit. She will get hit. So I can't imagine what she may accept from a future partner based off of what you are teaching her to accept from you. I'll have this in my description below, of course, as always, but this was a study published by Harvard that talks about the effects of spanking on the brain. And I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I'm just going to read the very first paragraph. And I really, really highly encourage you to read it, especially if you're a parent listening right now and you're a parent who spanks, because although I believe spanking is and it has similar effects on the brain as CSA. I understand that not many people are in the know or really can understand truly how bad it is outside of being told, oh, people just don't like it because they have crazy kids that don't listen to them. And so that's maybe all you have known. You may be a spanking parent, but you can change. You can stop and you can apologize to your child and move forward with healthier parenting techniques that actually get to the root behavioral issues and form a lasting connection with your child. But with all of that being said, I really highly encourage anybody to read this study. It's really good, and I'm going to read that paragraph to you guys. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm actually going to read a couple of the paragraphs, but again, go to the description, read the full thing yourself, please. Research has long underscored the negative effects of spanking on children's social emotional development, self-regulation, and cognitive development. But new research published this month shows that spanking alters a child's brain response in ways similar to severe maltreatment and increases perception of threats. This study looked at 147 children, including some who were spanked and some who were not spanked in the beginning years of their lives, to see potential differences to the brain. By using MRI assessment, researchers observed changes in brain response while the children viewed a series of images featuring facial expressions that indicate emotional response, such as frowns and smiles. They found that children who had been spanked had a higher activity response in the areas of their brain that regulate these emotional responses and detect threats, even to facial expressions that most would consider non-threatening. Preschool and school-age children, and even adults who have been spanked, are more likely to develop anxiety and depression disorders or have more difficulties engaging positively in schools and skills of regulation, which we know are necessary to be successful in educational settings. There you go. If you don't want to take it from me, take it from Harvard. Spanking does nothing beneficial to your child. And I understand a lot of parents would look at parents like me and think I have no control on my child simply because I do not greatly react to bad behavior. I'm very calm. Not always. I definitely have my bad moments, and I have definitely had to apologize to my children, and I will in the future, and I will also apologize in the future. Because that's another part of being a parent, is showing humanity. Showing your children that even I make mistakes, and this is how we fix our mistakes. We don't run from them. Just because I am your mom does not mean I know everything, and it does not mean I react the right way 100% of the time. And I want my children to know that, and to know that when somebody mistreats them or does something that was mean or hurt their feelings, they deserve an apology. If that person actually loves you, they will feel bad for the ways that they have harmed you, and they will try to reconcile. Spanking is not effective. It does not work, and it does not teach your child anything. It is lazy, and it is I know a lot of people don't like the idea of being able to just talk to your child about their behaviors because a lot of people think children are stupid. They are not stupid. You can have age-appropriate conversations with your child and hold space for their bad behavior and work with them through bad behavior to set them up for success in their adulthood without resorting to violence, screaming, or physical consequences. Yes, believe it or not, that is possible. And you can discipline your child and give them consequences that relate to the bad behavior that also are not harmful, but still teach the lesson they need to learn. So if you are a parent who spanks, I greatly urge you to read that Harvard study so that you can understand that spanking your child quite literally teaches them nothing but to fear you and to fear making mistakes. Because in their mind, making a mistake means I get hit. But that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate that. I hope that this mother changes her ways, although I highly, highly doubt that she will. But that's all for now, and I will see you guys on the next video.